When was the last time you did something just for fun? Lost track of time, forgot about your worries, laughed until your sides hurt? If you've ever hung out with kids, you've probably encountered them playing joyfully with the same toy for hours on end, telling the same joke every 5 minutes and able to laugh each time as though it was the first time they had heard it. They're able to imagine a whole world in the space of a living room, or do the same action repeatedly just because it intrigues them. When I was a nanny for a little girl, I was bothered by how quickly I would become bored with the games she wanted to play. Somehow, the simplicity of her play and fun wasn't enough to keep my interest. I had to resist pulling out my phone to entertain myself. I would catch myself trying to manipulate or bribe her to do things that I found way more exciting or productive. I just couldn't seem to relax into that playfulness. There's a reason children can engage in play unreservedly. It's because someone is looking out for them. They're not concerned about the dangers or the time frame or what's happening next in their day. They are focused entirely on what is right in front of them because someone else is watching out for them. As we grow up, we lose this innocence as we're made aware of life's harsh realities and take on adult responsibilities. What is most unfortunate, though, is that somewhere in growing up, many of us have made an exchange. Rather than holding on to both play and productivity, recognizing the need and the blessing of both, we've become consumed by productivity. And then there's no space, no freedom, and sadly very little value given to playfulness. Are play and productivity so opposite? Do they need to be enemies of each other in our lives? Well, here are two thoughts. First, from a childhood development perspective, play is the work of a child. It's extremely productive. In childhood, play and productivity are not opposite, but integrated in the child's learning of skills, environments, relationships, and more. Second, God's play and productivity are also one and the same. Think about this. God is all-powerful and self-sufficient. Therefore, there can be no such thing as tiring labor for God. For example, when God created everything, which we would see as productive work, God wasn't exhausted by it, nor obligated to do it. When he rested on the seventh day, he wasn't recovering, he was enjoying. Therefore, the Second Vatican Council concluded that God must have created out of love or desire. This means that God's work and creative activity is not burdensome to him, but rather is a free and playful expression of joy. So here's a question for us. Why do we not view our daily tasks in this way, productive and playful? Why do some of us feel the need to justify playfulness as though it's selfish or irresponsible? On the other hand, what do we miss out on when we engage regularly in playful activity but aren't productive in our lives? I want to suggest to us that if we have play or productivity divisively independent of the other, we actually miss out on living as people made in the image of God. Our God is playful and productive, and that is the image in which we were made and therefore in which we will find fulfillment. Apart from this, we will not get to experience the joy of truly being human. Between those two extremes, I'm someone who tends to overwork without play. Last year at a retreat, as I talked to God about all the things going on in my life, he simply replied to me, play. How is that an answer to my to-do list? Go work and play. Cheerfully get those chores done. Enjoy your life. Don't worry so much. You are trying so hard. You are trying to be God. Let me be God and enjoy this moment without worrying about the next. I was so stressed and caught up in these mounting tasks. I found laughter, play, and relaxation to be an inconvenient, selfish waste of time. If I'm completely honest, I look down on others for enjoying these things at work or outside of work because I thought it was them wasting the good life God had given them. How wrong I was. I was the one who was a mess. I was the anxious stress case. I didn't have peace or joy. I was not enjoyable to really be around or to work on a team with. I may have gotten stuff done, but I lost a lot along the way. It wasn't an enjoyable way to live. It was a trudge. God told me to play in the midst of my task. How is that even possible? His answer to me was, trust me more. So how might we make play productive and productivity playful? Here are a few thoughts. childlike faith, curiosity, and courage. First and foremost is childlike faith. Why? Because when a child plays, they play without fear. Perhaps if we were childlike in our faith, trusting that we have a Heavenly Father who is watching out for us, we would feel a release to engage in our work without the burdens of worry and stress. So long as we try to remain in charge, we won't have room for play because we are too busy managing, trying to be God instead of a child of God. Trusting God as a child trusts in their parent. Childlike faith allows us to be playful in our productivity. Then curiosity. You can't control curiosity. You can't schedule its outcome or guarantee its discoveries. Curiosity is an adventure, discovering whatever might be of interest to us, being willing to consider others' ideas or offer our own to see just what might happen. We participate in the image of God by doing and creating and imagining. And there is so much to be curious about. Curiosity engages experiments, risk-taking, and new learning that actually moves us toward greater achievement. Curiosity is a key element in productive play. Courage. Over time, we come to believe that we should be concerned by what other people think of us. We're too afraid of embarrassment to take the risk of childlike faith or curiosity, risking we might say or do something so out of the ordinary. But what's imagination to a child? Is it not pink giraffes and objects that talk? I had a child tell me once that you could get a dog to speak by feeding it alphabet soup because all the letters would go up to its brain. It's child logic. Have the courage to make mistakes, laugh at yourself, and allow others to actually do the same. Have courage to fully engage in this way. Why don't we play? We try to be God instead of a child of God. We give up on curiosity to be efficient. We take life and ourselves too seriously. We forget how to be silly and be okay with it. God and children demonstrate to us what it is like to be both playful and productive. We don't have to give up our love for fun to be productive, and we don't have to give up productivity to have some fun. The tasks before us, the learning and the work of our hands can be both playful and productive if we allow God to help us re-envision our tasks according to who He is and the way of life He teaches us about in the Bible. How would we as Christians change our world if we walked into our daily tasks with childlike faith that God is in charge, so we don't need to worry, curiosity to discover more about God, ourselves, others, and our world, and courage, knowing we were made for this joy? Let's discover more about God and about our identity as we allow playfulness and productivity to find harmony in our lives.